Good morning, everyone. I'm John Cudahy, Vice President of SAAGNY. Dale Denham, CIO of Geiger. He's going to be giving us some education this morning on selling in the zero moment of truth. I have no idea what that means. That's why I'm not doing this session this morning. Dale's doing this. So without further ado, Mr. Dale Denham.
All right, thank you. So, I had a zero moment of truth this morning, but it wasn't what I'm going to talk about. And if you've stayed in the hotel, you've had this moment of truth. I went to the front desk this morning and said, "Do you have any toothpaste?" Because first I realized I didn't have any toothpaste this morning. Actually, I realized it last night when I was brushing my teeth that I had finished up what I dropped, and then this morning I went to get it. And the moment of truth I had was when I started walking back to my hotel room. And do you know what I realized? I had my key. I forgot my room number. I'm in hotels all the time, and I went, where am I? And what's my room number? Now, fortunately, I managed to find my way back to the room. I knew I was on the second floor, and I knew I'd left my paper out. But I had that, oh no moment. And the realization that I was going to have to find my way back to my room. That's not the zero moment of truth we're going to talk about today, but we are going to talk about the selling environment that you now operate in as promotional products distributors and suppliers. Are there any suppliers in the room? Okay, two. So I'm going to primarily target this to distributors, but this will help you as a supplier as well to understand what the distributors are facing. At the end, I usually leave a little bit of time, so there's plenty of time to interact with me as we go through. I like questions. However, if I start to run out of time, then I will give you shorter answers in response to your question. This is where the slides are. I know you can't read it if you're in the back, but if you want a copy of everything here, it's slideshare.net/TheRealDaleDenham. Every slide that I have out there, or that I am presenting here, is out there. And the reason I'm the real Dale Denham is my father is also Dale Denham. And even though he's now probably 72, I think, he's pretty social media savvy, and he beat me to getting the name Dale Denham on SlideShare. I did ask him when he dies if he would leave me his social media properties in his will, and he said, "I'm going to leave you as many of my social media properties, as much money as I'm going to leave you, which is zero." So I will never get the name Dale Denham, but I did get it for Facebook and LinkedIn, so he was late on those. I just missed it here. So that's where it is, slideshare.net/TheRealDaleDenham. I'll show it again later. If you want to reach me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, or Twitter. And as John said, I'm the CIO of Geiger, and I've been in this industry 20 plus years, focusing on business technology, not just technology. How do we make money? Tom and you know that well, right? We work together, and is there any other Geiger people in here? Just I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, that's right, we saw each other earlier. So, all right. So today, my goal is to make you think, and to think about opportunities. And normally when I present, I like to give you action. I like you to leave here being able to do something practical and different than what you came into. So I'm going to try to do both. But if you walk out of here with one thing, I want you to walk out of here realizing things are different today and how you need to be selling in this new world. So what is the zero moment of truth? The zero moment of truth is the moment in which influences which brands make your customer shopping list. And I've highlighted where shoppers choose to buy and with whom they share the results. So we are in a business that all of us sell roughly the exact same items, right? As a distributor, I can buy this journal book, and you can buy this. Well, it's not really a journal book. What do you call these, John? What's your brand name for these? Are they called journal books?
Yeah.
Okay. I can buy these from HIT, and you can buy these from HIT, right? So it's not just about the product the customer is going to buy. It's who are they going to buy it from. So we have to be aware of both what products they want to buy, who they're going to buy it from, and now we have to think about who are they going to share this story with. So I speak in a lot of different cities, and I can tell you that the hotel here today had the best setup, even over the PPAI Expo, for me as a speaker. They had the projector set up and tested. I walked in. They asked me if I wanted the lights changed. They asked me to test the microphone. They asked me if the projector was working to my satisfaction. Phenomenal service. There's the guy right there who set it up. So they had great service. I will tell that story and share that story about this hotel, and I'll probably go online and rate them for that. It's been phenomenal. I had breakfast. They were wonderful service. People share information now. If it's a bad experience, we share that as well. In fact, right before Christmas, or right after Christmas rather, anybody ever hear of Jet.com?
Love Jet.
Okay, so 4 of you, one of John loves Jet. Jet.com is basically wants to be Amazon.com, but they have a slightly different model. They find the people that they're going to fulfill the item from. So I bought my father a air purifier right after Christmas because he saw the one I had, he liked it, and I had bought him a gift, so there we go. I went on Jet, and I thought, well, they've got it, it's a few dollars cheaper than Amazon, I'll order it from them. 5 days after I ordered it, I get a note saying, your order cannot be fulfilled, we're sorry. 5 days after I ordered it. Then after that, I'm thinking, well, that's a bad experience. Not only did they they just said sorry. They didn't say, we'd like to give you another item at 10% off or anything like that. That was it. The next day, I get an email from them, your order has shipped. But instead of 1 air purifier, they shipped 2. And these are $150 units. So they're big. I'm like, well, this is not a good experience. So I call my dad and I say, look, you're going to get 2 all worked out. And he's like, oh, okay. The next day, I get an apology from them that they couldn't ship my order and that they'd like to offer me $15 off my next order. The next day, I get the tracking number for the order that did finally ship, which turned out to actually only have 1 item in it. So I didn't have to return it. Now, it's one bad experience, but it's my first experience. And I've now told the story 3 times. And if you've never bought from Jet, what just happened? John loves them. He's back there telling you they're great. I'm telling you, I've never had a bad experience with Amazon. And for the $10 I saved, I'm sticking with Amazon. So, the 0 moment of truth is what I just did. I influenced you about a place you're going to purchase. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It is a decision-making moment. None of you were planning on buying from Jet. None of you came in here thinking about what is Jet.com. Some of you may check it out even though I've had a bad experience. So that's a positive because now you may go see what they're about. But you're going to keep in the back of your mind what happened to Dale Denham. It all worked out good, right? So not so bad. And I've got $15 off when I want to order from there. But you just had a ZMOT, a decision-making moment. You haven't decided, but it's a moment of decision. Your buyers learn and make decisions. Some of you will never buy from Jet just based on that conversation. You will expect it to be bad. Now, if it ended really bad, you definitely wouldn't. Some of you, just because I mentioned it, will go check them out. That's a decision for you. Here is how our customers buy today. Here's how we as consumers buy today. We have a stimulus, something that prods us to buy. What's a stimulus in our industry? How do you get people to buy? Give me some ideas. How do you get your customers to buy products?
Event,
An event.
client appreciation, employee appreciation.
But what is it that drives them to go, I need to buy those products? I need
Ideas
it.
now.
You show them ideas, that's a stimulus, yes. How do you show them ideas? What are some of the ways?
Sample them.
Samples, mail. Those are all stimulus. Presentation, stimulus, absolutely. Then you have the 0 moment of truth, which we're going to get into a lot. And I'm going to tell you what an FMOT and an SMOT are. 0 moment of truth, first moment of truth, second moment of truth. We're going to spend most of our time here, but let me tell you a little bit about the first moment of truth and the stimulus and the second moment. First one is the stimulus, the advertisement. I'm going to use 4imprint today a lot. They are probably, they are the largest distributor now in the industry, at least in terms of growth and online sales. that's 100% promotional products. They do a great job. And they provide stimulus to your customers as well. How many of us get a note, an email, a phone call from our customers saying, I saw this on 4imprint. Raise your hand if you've ever heard or seen that, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing. It can be a bad thing, and in fact, I'll tell you that if you don't do something about it over time, they are affecting your customer every time they interact with them. But for now, I celebrate them because they encourage people to buy our products with all their mailings, emails, and marketing. They are the best in the industry, in my opinion, at online marketing. There's nobody coming close to them. They do a great job. Catalog, email, and then experience with the products as well. Those are the stimulus. In other words, I'm at an event like this, and I'm here and I pick this up and I go, this would be great. That's my stimulus. The ZMOD is the moment at which the customer does the research and makes the decision about buying your product. This is the one we're going to talk about today. And I add in from you. Because again, people can buy this product from your company or from my company. So we are selling both a product and ourselves. And we have to influence both the product and where people are buying from. So the first moment of truth is when the customer first encounters a product on your store shelf. Now, this concept was started by Procter & Gamble back in the 70s. And the idea was they were running ads on television, and then they would have the customer go into the store, and that moment of truth was when the customer decided, am I going to buy the Tide that I saw in that advertisement? That, for the marketer, is the first moment of truth. Am I actually going to pick that up and put it in my cart? That's where the concept of the first moment of truth came from. Does anybody know where the concept of zero moment of truth came from? Came from Google. Because Google influences our zero moments of truth more than anyone else. So Procter & Gamble came up with this first concept. I marketed to the customer. What are they going to do when they get to the store? That's the first moment of truth. The second moment of truth is when they experience the product for the first time. So if I'm buying Tide, it's the moment that I wash my clothes with Tide and pull them out, and they either smell clean and look clean or they don't. That's the second moment of truth. So for our industry, the second moment of truth has multiple. But one of them is simply when the customer unpacks the box. Did it arrive on time? When they handed it to their customer, was their customer excited? There's all sorts of second moments of truth for us. We now have to worry about every one of these. Where do you guys spend most of your time right now? Stimulus, right? If you're trying to sell, your focus is here. What's happening is, this is where more and more decisions are being made. Yet you're spending all your time and money here. And we often forget about that first moment of truth, when they're actually going to make that decision, and then the second moment of truth. So we now have to think about all these. We're going to cover each of them here. So let's take one in our industry. So this is an email from 4imprint. If you don't subscribe to their emails, you should, because your customers do. So you better know what they're selling. You better know what the name of the product is. See, this product is called the Emma Ceramic Mug 14 ounce. Now, some customers might just click shop now. Other customers might do what when they got this email? What's that? Look at the ratings? That's right, they would definitely look at the ratings. I might just Google it if I'm interested in it. So I'm going to show you what happens when I Google Emma Ceramic Mug, which is what I Google up here. You can't see it very well from the back, but that's 4imprint, 4imprint, 4imprint. They're the only ones who come up with the Emma Ceramic Mug on the first page in our industry. And these are paid ads. Any promo paid to get in there and there and there. So guess what? Any promo could potentially steal some business from 4imprint because they're almost $100 cheaper. But I look at that mug and I'm like, is it really the Emma ceramic mug? I don't know. And if I don't know, maybe I won't buy it. So they have won this zero moment of truth right now. For imprint has. So they have the stimulus, and then they have the zero moment of truth. So maybe I go ahead and I click the link now. I say, fine, I want to get this from For Imprint. Let me check it out. Well, there's our first moment of truth. Is my website good? Is it easy? Am I going to pick this product, or am I going to pick something else? Now, we don't care as much about them picking the particular product that we sent via email, right? If they choose to switch from one mug to another, that's okay with us. What we don't want is them switching vendors. We don't want them to come to our site and go to somebody else's site. So your site has to be incredibly easy, and it has to be incredibly good, because you're competing with For Imprint, which, by the way, as I think they're the best marketers, I don't think they have the best website. They have a good, very good website, but they have great content, and it's very easy to use overall. So that's my first moment of truth with For Imprint. So I leave, I decide I'm not going to buy, and I go watch a YouTube video. And what do I see? For Imprint. I wasn't going to shop. What was I doing? I was going to watch a YouTube video. I wanted to watch a How Do I Repair My Toilet video. And all of a sudden, look who's in my face. For Imprint. They just had another zero moment of truth. Hey, don't forget about us. And what's going to happen next week if I go back out and watch a YouTube video? Who's going to be there? For Imprint. Another zero moment of truth. How many of you are doing that? So your customer went to For Imprint, they checked it out, they called you, can you get me the Emma ceramic mug? Oh yeah, sure, let me send you a quote. Send out the quote, price is good, wonderful. Watching a YouTube video. You know what, maybe I'll just buy from For Imprint. It's easy, it's there, it's happened. I'm sure it's happened to all of us whether we know it or not. Then, the customers order the product, they have a good experience, and what do? They go back to For Imprint, and they do what? They rate the products. How many of us have ratings on our website? Who does, if you do? Is it a custom website? You have your own website? We have website ratings. If you're using Sage or ESP, I don't believe there's ratings on either of those. So your customer goes to your website, and you don't have ratings. But all the top online competitors do. We're going to come back to that. So, stimulus leads to the chance for a ZMOD, or ZMOD could be over here. After a ZMOD, somebody has that FMOD, and if you were lucky enough to get the purchase, then you have an SMOD, and that SMOD influences the ZMOD, which says today's buying process is not linear. It is anything the customer wants to be. In fact, your ZMOD can be a stimulus. For us, it is. You pick up a product, you make a decision, I want this product. Well, that's a stimulus, but it's also a chance to be a ZMOD. So for those of you who can't read these in the back, this says, I did an online search, and I did some look at product reviews, then I looked for coupons. Then I thought, well, am I loyal? Is there any reward programs? What's my engagement experience? I left the site and now I'm being remarketed to. Let me go back and do another online search for something else. And I can go to product reviews and then affiliates and social shopping. I can compare, and I can do this in any order that I want as a customer. Is this making sense to everybody so far? Okay. So here's the problem. The rules have changed, but in our industry, we haven't. The online decision making is skyrocketed. But you're spending the same amount of money online as you spent 10 years ago, which is zero. You're spending the same amount of emphasis online, which is zero. And maybe you're spending $1,000 to buy a Sage website. Maybe you're spending $600 in email marketing. But in general, how much do you think For Imprint spends every month on marketing online? It's a 7-figure number every month, online. Not to mention their staff that's sitting there generating content all day. And they're not the only ones. Right here is Motivators in New York. Anybody here from Motivators? Okay, that's why you guys have reviews. Great company, great website. Very good marketing. But they're also competing with 4-in-print. And you're competing with them and 4-in-print. There's Any Promo, there's Discount Mugs. Who's some of the other big players? E-Promos. More and more people are spending money, and we're not. What's going to happen to us if our customers keep, and I'm not just talking about millennials. At Geiger, we're seeing a shift of customers, no matter what their age, shifting from email, from calling, to buying online, even if it's just an email to say, I found this product on your website, please place the order for me. But more and more, they're actually getting checkout on our website. And I'm sure you're seeing the same thing at Motivators. Customers who used to buy over the phone, now that they trust, are happy to buy via e-commerce. So, it's kind of depressing. You don't have $1 million a month to spend on marketing. By the way, does anybody here do your blogging? Anybody here happen to be a blogger? Who's the blogger? All of you? Okay, so I'm going to ask you for a little help in sharing with people in a minute about blogging. So what can we do as distributors? Well, I'm going to give you a few ideas of what you might do, and I'm going to ask for everybody's help. So we're going to talk about 3 different stimulances in very short conversations. So the first one is email marketing. How many of you are doing email marketing to your customers now? All right, about half of you. How many of you are using somebody in the industry to generate your content for you? Okay, do you mind sharing with us who it is?
I actually rely on the suppliers to put the creative together, and then use them on a weekly basis, depending on how I measure.
So a supplier comes up with a creative email for you, and then you forward that out to your clients through Constant Contact or MailChimp or something?
Yeah, we use a couple different ones.
Okay. All right, so you count on suppliers. There's industry service providers who generate content. I know Sage offers something. Does anybody here use Sage to generate their emails? You do? Okay. Anybody else use anyone that you're willing to share? So campaign marketing, and they're an ASI supplier, or at least affiliated with ASI in some way? Okay, campaign marketing. Did you got one in the back?
I tried to use Sage, but it wasn't as user-friendly as I expected.
Okay.
I'm in the process of deciding which venue to, which company to go with that and so on.
This is one of the most important things and easiest things we can all do, so I really want to make sure I give a chance for everybody to hear a name of somebody used. There's Outbound Engine is a company. Outbound Engine, okay. So Outbound Engine is, they are kind of affiliated with Boundless Network, but they're kind of their own company, which is now owned by Zazzle, so I don't know exactly everything, but I know that we have some sales partners who still use them because they've been using them forever. Geiger, we provide things. If you're associated with a larger sales force, they might have something like that. The suppliers do it for you. Sage has something, but as our colleague in the back said, she didn't find it to be all that easy. Is there any other ones that generate the content for you, not just the ones that will do the email for you? Want to be fair? Yes?
I physically call my customers once a month. I tell them, if you find anything online, you call me, I'll match it from under your place.
So you're doing he's doing the classic marketing that we've done in this industry a long time. He talks to his customers on a regular basis and says, hey, no matter what you find, I'll take care of you, I'll give you better service and a better price. And that works. At some point, this also works and generates, and you may lose a sale or two or an entire customer. So there's going to be a lot of things. The main takeaway I want you to hear today is about the 0 moment of truth. But if there's one action item I want you to have, you need to be doing email marketing. If you want to do it on your own and work with a supplier, the software that I would recommend using is MailChimp. MailChimp, chimp, all one word.com. Easy, I think you can send a couple hundred a month for free to a couple hundred different people. I like the services, and the best one I know in the industry is the one you already use, Outbound Engine, but they're what, $50, $100 a month?
It's like 50.
Yeah, so it's about $50 a month, so it's $600, but they generate all the content, and they've got a nice back-end system, and it's got some reporting. I like what we do at Geiger well, but I also like what they do, and they do some things better than we do, and so just like with Sage, you might find there's things that you like better, but you should be doing email marketing, and you should be doing it at least once a week, yes.
You recommend MailChimp.com over Constant Contact?
So the question is MailChimp or Constant Contact? If you're already using Constant Contact, I would stay there. It's a good product, and if you already have your database in there, there's no great features in MailChimp that Constant Contact doesn't have. For me, the issue is if I haven't done anything, MailChimp's easier to learn, and it's a little bit, I think they offer more free features they used to anyhow. So it's also got more integrations and such. But if you're already using an email service provider and you're happy, there's nothing that's really great about one over the other. It's very much a personal preference. The key is use something. Yes?
How do you know you're not going into spam?
How do you know you're not going into spam? Well, there's a 90% chance you are going into spam. Okay, so if we send out an email to 20,000 people, there's a good chance that only about 4,000 or 5,000 of those got through. And there's a good chance that of those 4,000 or 5,000, only 500 actually opened it. But you don't. But, and here's the secret to email marketing. Your subject line is what matters. Because even if it's in spam, sometimes people review their spam folder. So what are they reading in your subject line? What's your email from address? Are you getting some mind share from that? All of these email providers do offer a spam testing tool. They say this will rate you higher, but the reality is the moment you are sending an email to more than 10 people, it's a pretty good chance a spam filter is going to catch that. Yes?
Constant Contact said that if you put in the subject line, if you don't use all caps, that it's more likely to get through the spam filter.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of little tricks that will reduce how many spam filters catch you, but bulk emailing, if it's coming from Constant Contact, MailChimp, any of those, or if you send an email out to 100 people at once from your own account, the email servers out there are going, hey, wait a minute, this is out there sending a lot, what's happening? So you're not guaranteed to get through no matter who you use, but subject lines do matter. And your service provider will give you all sorts of tips. Yes?
Vendors often supply flyers for our use and customization, but are there any particular companies that will allow you to upload a supplier flyer to it and send it out?
All of them will let you upload a flyer and send it out. But I will tell you that with email marketing, if you send me a big image, you're higher likelihood to get caught in a spam filter than you are if you have smaller images. So text with an image or two. Plus, if I do open your email, most likely I have a setting on there saying, don't download the image automatically. So there's all sorts of tricks to doing it right. I could do a whole session on email marketing. The thing you need to do is email marketing, and that's why I like services, whether you're affiliated with a Motivators, which provides content and does such, or a Geiger or Boundless or anybody else. They provide you the content. Or you can buy it from Sage or Outbound Engine or anybody else who wants to mention something. You need to be doing email marketing. That's the key. This one's a lot less expensive, social media marketing. And I do a whole class on this. I'm not going to get into a lot, but if you have friends who buy from you or buyers who happen to be your friends on Facebook, you can soft sell on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, or whatever it is you're on. And what I mean by that is, this is Scott Boych, who's one of our sales partners, and I don't even know if these came out of the industry or not, but they're imprinted beanie caps, and last year they say, do your job, and Scott says, promotional products are great for reinforcing a message or theme like this one, Go Pats, Super Bowl bound. Now, of course, that was last year. That reminded people that Scott sells imprinted beanies. What else could you do? What other soft sell things that your friends won't find too annoying, they might find interesting, and might go, oh, I didn't know you sold that. Or if it's your client, would spur them on. Yes, sir?
Well, what I do is I photograph after I do a job, put it up on social media, on Facebook, thanking the customer, putting his name in so his
So he gets tagged.
tagged in, and so it goes through mine, the 1,700 people, plus the additional, plus I put it on 3 or 4 other sites.
So you do a great job, and you do that on basically every order?
The ones that will work, and then I also take it, like I do work for the New York Islanders, I'll put it on there, I'll make sure it's on the Islander website.
Right. So you're doing things that are interesting to people, and you're taking a photo and you're saying, hey, check this out, it's pretty cool. You're not selling, you're bragging a little bit, but it's also interesting to read.
And not only that, but then they sit there and say, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And there's where
Right.
somebody else picks up the same idea and it goes off.
Exactly, and that's the way you can do social media marketing. I'm sure Motivators has a full-time person who does that. I know 4imprint does, and usually it's a lot of people. You need to engage everybody in there. What you need to do, you be very careful. If you get to where you're selling on social media, your friends are going to tune you out, and your message will not get through. So it has to be interesting and not come off as a sales pitch. Yes, ma'am.
You were referring to a personal Facebook page and your friends. What about using a business page?
Yeah, so the business page is great, but it's a lot harder to get people to like your business page. So you may have 1,000 friends or 100 friends, but to get your clients to actually like your business page takes up a ton of work. I recommend you doing it because then you can post things there, but you will find that it's a very tough sell to get more than a couple dozen to like your page, and then you will find that you're not doing much. So I use my friend page in a soft sell sort of way. As long as you're friends with your client. If you're not, then you have to go the other route.
I'll give you another thing that I see all the time. I do a lot of business networking, and whenever I'm in a group of 14 to 18 people, I make sure I bring a promotional product with me.
Right.
Because even though I'm an embroiderer, if I go to a networking event and I don't have a promotional product, I'm not doing my job.
So you're getting into what I call our classic marketing. So this is what you guys already do really well. Joel told us earlier, he makes cold and warm calls. He reminds people, I'm here. All right? Catalogs, they still work. 4imprint, the best online marketer in the industry, has a huge catalog marketing budget. Why? Because it works. It works to generate phone calls. It also works to drive people to the website. Because it's a moment of truth. People weren't thinking about promotional products, so all of a sudden the catalog showed up and it says, oh yeah, I do have an event coming up next month. Let me take a quick look. And people love our industry, right? They love to see what's new and exciting. So it's a great little distraction. Marketing is always looking for good ways. Catalogs are great. So whether they're Sage catalogs, ASI catalogs, promotional marketing catalogs, you need catalogs. You need to be mailing them. You need to be in front of people. And trade shows are a great way. Obviously, this trade show is for the suppliers to sell to distributors. But if you have a chance to be at a trade show, or even when our products are at a trade show that somebody goes to that isn't you, they pick it up and they call you. That's a stimulus.
I go to quite a few trade shows, and I always look for people that are giving stuff away, and I always find out who the contact is, and I pick up more clients that way.
That's interesting. So if he's at a trade show, he asks them, where do you buy this from? This is what I sell. Can I take care of your business? And he gets a lot of business that way.
Well, I find out who the decision maker is quite
Oh,
often.
decision maker, not who they're
Quite
buying.
often the decision maker is there, and so I follow up with them, and I pick up a lot of good
That's
clients.
a very good tip.
It's an
Thank you
easy
for
way to
sharing
do
that.
it, real easy.
So you're at the show and you're saying, who makes the decisions to buy these products? They tell you, and they're there half the time. Great, what I call that guerrilla marketing, right? Not classic. That's great. So stimulus is going to lead to the ZMOD opportunities. Whatever those stimuluses are, that's when the zero moment of truth kicks in. Now again, sometimes it's before the stimulus, sometimes the stimulus is the ZMOD, but generally speaking, ZMOD is not the stimulus. And the term ZMOD is generally around searches, because now I've decided that something stimulated me to buy. I want to go buy or research. That's when the zero moment becomes the most important to us now. It's a response to that stimulus. So, here's some ZMODs that I think you should be thinking about. Now, for me, this one is both a stimulus and a ZMOD, but it's such an important ZMOD that I just want to point out nothing beats a sample, right? Your customer indicates an interest in a product, they call you up, whatever it is, get a sample in their hands. The only thing that beats a sample is a spec sample. You put the customer's logo on there, whether it's virtual or physical, that changes the experience for the customer. I can see, wow, look how good that black and red looks on the white mug. And if you can do it on your website where they can see it on the different colors, that's also a zero moment of truth. It's affecting their decision. They're going, wow, Tom can get me the black mug, the white mug, the red mug, and I can see my logo with the click of a button. That's awesome. Or physically put it in their hands if it's a great product with their logo on it. They're not buying from anybody else. If they are, they're going to come to you and at least say, hey, what's your price? Can you do any better? Because I found this online, because you've really locked them into you. You put some energy in there. This is the one that is the hardest for me to get people to do, but it's probably the most important opportunity for each of you here today. So Eric, do you blog?
I kind of borrow blogs.
Okay, what does that mean? You link to them, or
I
do you?
link to them, or I will, knowing a customer, knowing somebody that I work with, who may have an interest. If it's written from somebody else, I will borrow, get the rights to share their blog.
Okay. So whether it's a supplier or a friend or somebody sharing their blog. When I was doing this session at Expo, it happened to be that the blog that I used up here, which you can't really read, but is from Patrick Black. And he is Perfect Imprints down in Florida. And he and I have become friends over the years. He is probably, for the small, mid-sized distributor, the best blogger in the industry. So one of the things you can do is just Google Patrick Black, Perfect Imprints, and you'll see what I think makes a good blog. He blogs constantly. And it's amazing if you search for products, how often his blog comes up in the search results. I recommend to most of you, because most of you are on LinkedIn, to just use the Publish a Post feature in LinkedIn. It's really easy. It forces your customers to get a little notification that, hey, Dale just posted a new blog post. It does get a bit annoying to people when you keep posting, but given the alternative of posting on blogger.com where you don't notify anybody or annoying a few people, I'm telling you, go on LinkedIn. It's very easy. We'll talk about exactly what you blog about, but in general, you're blogging about products. You want, if somebody types in, this was the, I think, the Boss Tumblr. The Boss Tumblr. If you Google Boss Tumblr on your phone right now, there's a pretty good chance this blog's coming up. It's a popular product, and somehow Patrick gets in the top page of results just from this blog. And he's not that big of a company. Now, he doesn't use LinkedIn for this. I'm only recommending that for people who don't already have a blogging platform. It's the easiest way to get started. Any questions on blogs? I am going to come back to it. Blogging is actually a part of search engine optimization. And this is the part that none of us in this room, not even our friends at Motivators, can afford to win every time. This is the hardest game in town. Because no matter how much money you spend, there is no way to know that you're going to come up in the top results of organic listings, which means I didn't pay. So we have a product on Geiger.com called the Little Thunder Tote, which happens to come from bag makers. So I Googled it. For imprint, quality logo products, for all promos, for imprint, bag makers. It's one of our top sellers online. We don't come up in the first page. None of the ads. This is tough. So if I wanted to do something about this, I would go blog about the Little Thunder Tote. And I would link to the product on my website. And if enough people read that, and enough clicks happened over time, and it would happen over many, many months, not over many, many days, I would start to show up. So I have to be very focused. I have to say, you know what? That Emma ceramic mug, I want to be the only search result. I'm going to put effort in, and I'm going to make sure I have multiple pages and multiple blogs and multiple things that drive traffic to my Emma ceramic mug or my little thunder tote. If you have your own website, landing pages are the key to that. Landing pages is kind of a blog about a product, where if I run an ad, I'm going specifically to that page. Or I can create a custom product page to drive traffic with my own words to get people there. You will not win the SEO battle. It's expensive. You can win some of the battles. So if you're really good at the little thunder tote, go after that really well. But also, put in a couple of cities that you sell in your blog. The Little Thunder Tote in Tampa, Florida. The Little Thunder Tote in West Chase, Florida. The Little Thunder Tote in Hillsborough County, Florida. Those are things that if somebody is in Tampa and they type in promotional products Tampa, the search engine says, oh, that blog is more relevant to Tampa than this blog from somebody up in New York. So you want to focus locally. Social, because you are the product. If you have not Googled yourself and clicked every result in the last 6 months, you better. Because you need to know what people see. If you Google me, my Facebook page will come up and you will see that I'm crazy enough to have 4 children. You'll see that I'm crazy enough to have also bought a puppy this Christmas. Because for 7 years my wife told me she wanted a puppy, and every year I said no, and as most good husbands do, I finally gave in. She's very persistent. So this is our trip to Disney. This is me at a Geiger event after I was all dirty. This is what you will see along with other things that are on my Facebook wall that are public. This is my Twitter picture, and it says, technology savvy, business professional, father, husband, lover of books, technology, exercise, and great friends, Geiger CIO. Because if you look me up, I want you to find those things out about me. Now, in fairness, this picture's about 15 years old. It's probably time for me to act my age, but I haven't gone out there to change that. And then this is my more recent picture, and this is on LinkedIn, and it says CIO at Geiger, and if you were to look at my copy on there, it reinforces what I want people to know about me and the company that I represent. You need to make sure that when I Google your name and or your company name, if you have the name John Smith, you're not coming up on the first page. But if you have a name that's recognizable or more unique, then you're going to see what's coming up there. If you put your name in your company, almost for sure you will come up in the first couple of pages. And if you don't, you need to work on that. So you are the product. You are affecting people's decision to buy from you. Your company, if you Google your company, is also going to affect people. So if you were to Google a company named Geiger, not only would you get Geiger counters, but you would get Geiger promotional products. Video is an important part of SEO, but it's based on the copy that you write that you plug into the YouTube description. If you want to do a video, suppliers provide great video. You can do your own voiceover, or you can grab a small little camera and you can do your own little product review and say, look, I just sold this product, and you can throw it up on YouTube every day. You want it to be reasonably professional, but it doesn't have to be over the top. Because if I'm looking for more information on this book and I stumble on you, that's a good way to connect me to you, and it's very easy to do videos. Now, here is the most important piece that we can't address here today. How many of you will buy an electronic today without checking out the reviews? Is there anybody who just walks into Best Buy and says, let me check and do, I'm going to buy this TV just because I want it? I don't. I look online. Sometimes it's price comparison, but it's like, is this a good product or is it going to be a limit? And if it has 3 stars or less, are you going to buy that product? Probably not. If it has 4 stars or more, but you can't find it on your favorite retailer's website, where are you going to buy it from? The place that has 4 stars. Because you already know that's the right product. And maybe the other one is selling you something different. So, here's my 2 pieces of advice about reviews, since most of us can't do anything about that. Geiger and Motivators may be able to, and maybe there's a couple others who have built their own websites, but if you're using the Sage or ESP websites, you can't. This is where I say use your blog. And our colleague in the back was saying he reviews products and posts about the product. Go ahead and write, I just did this product, and my own personal review of it is this. That's number one. Number two, every customer, ask them. You need to follow up with that second moment of truth anyhow. Why not ask them? How did you like this product? So that if I were to ask you 5 stars, 4 stars, what would you say? And then keep that in an Excel spreadsheet somewhere, or wherever you need to. And then when you go to put that out to your customers, include that in your next presentation. Yes?
So how would you mitigate the bad reviews as a response? Do you respond to those reviews? Do you know, so say if you have a review, say motivated to have a review on the site.
Yeah, so the question is, if I have a bad review on my site, what do? I think you respond to it, and as long as it's not foul-mouthed and stupid, because there are trolls that just say stuff, right? But if they're saying, I got this product and it was a piece of crap because the lid fell off, you absolutely leave that review on there. Now, I might not push that out via email, but I'd have it on my landing page. And then I would have my response that says, sorry you had a bad experience. We've sold hundreds of these and never had this before. I'll be in contact with you to see what we can do to make this right. That says all the other reviews are more valid. If you have 0 negative reviews on your website, I don't trust it. Any other questions on reviews, comments? Okay. So this is another thing you can do. Remember when I said earlier, the online budgets have skyrocketed? This is what Motivators is doing for Imprint. It's called pay-per-click marketing. So I created a fake little ad up here. If you were to Google my name and I was running this ad, you would find my ad would show up and it would say the business IT guy, and then below it I said, interesting in your copy. Because people are scanning fast. You can do a pay-per-click campaign and spend $100 a month and get results. The first thing you can do is your name. If I wanted to make sure that every time somebody typed in my name, I came up to the top of the list and they went to daledenham.com, I could run that ad. And it would be a very cheap ad because not many people are typing in Dale Denham. Your company name, same thing. If you were to Google Geiger, Geiger comes up because we have the domain name. We have a lot, but maybe we aren't coming up because of too many Geiger counters, so I want to come up first. We would run an ad for company name. Probably cost 75 cents to $1 every time somebody clicked that. If you Google your company name and you don't come up first, you should be running an ad. Only in your area. So you can target, which is what I've done over here, you can't really see it, but I've only targeted Tampa, Florida. So you could target all of New York, you could do the tri-state area, you could target New York City, so that anybody searching in that zip code or general area for your company name, your ad will be displayed. Motivators would be a tough one because the word motivator has a dual meaning. So they probably pay more per click to get people to click on their name than I do, but probably not as bad as if your name is promotional product. Because to pay per click for the term promotional products, last I checked was running about $20 a click. That is not including how many times it gets clicked by us and how many times our customers click it and don't buy. So you might have 10 people click. You just spent $200 and not a single one bought. So that's where you can put in the keywords locally, but also best-selling products. So back to that Little Thunder tote. If I wanted to make sure I came up for Little Thunder tote, there's not a lot of words, but I could come up and I would definitely target my local area because I don't want to compete with Motivators and For Imprint across the country. Sorry to keep using you guys, but you're here and you've got a great brand, so I like to give you a little credit for being here. So. Google Shopping is another kind of pay-per-click ad. If I go back to, I don't think I have it here, but one of these, there it is. These are called Google Shopping ads. So when you search and you see pictures now, that's Google Shopping. That should scare the heck out of all of us because I no longer need to go to Geiger.com to see the multiple products. I can now just comparison shop right with all my competitors. Remarketing, we talked about that. That's pretty easy to do. It's really inexpensive. You can get thousands of views for $20, $30. It's really cheap. Not that effective in terms of actually converting, but it's great for the mind share. And then social advertising is very inexpensive. But you can't do all of these. You're not big enough. So pick one. this is where I would spend my time. Because your name and your company name are your brand. That's what I would say is worth your time. So it all has to work together. If you have a bad 0 moment of truth and a good first moment of truth, you got a low chance of a repeat order. If you have a good 0 moment of truth but a bad first moment of truth, you're not going to have a sale. Because that first moment of truth, if I can't order off your website, if you're a pain to deal with, too late. If you have a good ZMOT, take my jet example, and a bad second moment of truth, you're not likely to get a repeat order. Now, I didn't have the second moment of truth. My dad opened the box. He had a good second moment of truth. But it all has to work together. So for your first moment of truth, how easy is your website to use? There's really only 2 options in this industry, right? There's a couple other small ones out there, but there's 2. There's ASI and Sage. And I would bet almost every one of us in this room has that. There are firms, most of the large firms have created their own websites. That puts the typical distributor at a disadvantage because you're using a site that may or may not be as good as your customers need it to be. What are your options? Your options are to look at all the service providers, such as, is there anybody else I'm missing besides Sage and ESP? There's Trade Only, although they're not doing well. Promo Marketing, they have websites. Distributor Central. Any others? So those are things you have to look and say, what's going to give my customers the best experience? The experience is more important than 100,000 products. At Geiger, our goal is to have 10 to 15,000 products, not 100,000. We want the best products from the best vendors. We don't need 100,000. We don't want to confuse our customers. We care more about the experience than we do about having every product on demand on our website. Here is the one ZMOT scenario you can all control without spending another dime. You're all sending out presentations all the time, right? Every single one of us, customer calls in, they say, I saw this wraparound journal, send me a quote. Or I need a journal, what do you got? You shoot out a presentation. It looks beautiful. You've got reviews on there. You want them to buy. You send it. What do you expect them to do? I love it. Send it, here's my PO number, let's go. Is that what they do? What does a customer do as soon as they get that? More often today than you realize. They Google it. They take the words and they say wraparound journal imprinted. And your quote is now being compared to the Google search results. And the Google search results for that wraparound journal, Geiger happened to come up first because I pulled that product of a Geiger product. Another Geiger site, but also 4imprint and Etsy for all promos. So now I can see what my customer is going to see when they Google my presentation. And then they're going to click and they're going to see, well, in my presentation they offered gray, purple, red, blue, green, orange, and black. This didn't actually come from the Geiger website. And this is the price that was quoted, and here's those reviews, and they were able to see that on my quote, right? But now, once they Google it and they see the comparison, they go, wait a minute, Dale quoted me $2.69, but when I went to the Geiger website, it's $2.39. How's your customer going to feel when some no-name company that has a bestseller flag and a different way to represent the colors is offering it 30 cents cheaper at a lower quantity than you? So you're quoting lists, and your customer's seeing discounted pricing. Either from motivators, Geigers, any promos, discount mugs. How is that experience going to leave your customer with you?
A lot of times, if I don't know the client too well, I'll always tell them, listen, to look at the product, and then let me know, and then we can talk about the price afterwards.
So
I don't mock myself.
Everybody says something along those lines, or not everybody. Most everybody says, hey, if you find a better price, let me know. I always match every price. At some point, your customer just wants you to give them the best price.
Yep.
At some point, your customer says, why don't you publish the best price on your website? And you are now facing this issue that we publish list prices from suppliers on our websites, and all of the online distributors publish discounted pricing. Geiger's changed our strategy. We publish discounted pricing out there. And it causes us problems because Tom will go out and he'll just do a quick quote. And he'll quote at $2.69 because it was easy to click the button in ESP. And then this customer goes to his Geiger website and it's 30 cents cheaper. And Tom's like, sorry. It happens. I don't know if it's happened to you, Tom, but we know it happens to Tom's been on our advisory board for Geiger.com. It's one of the biggest complaints people have. But the issue for us is if the customers are Googling these products, what's going to happen when they see our prices higher than everybody else? How are you going to combat that? Well, maybe you can't fix your website, but before you send out that presentation, Google it and see what your customer is going to see on that first page of results. Does that make sense to everybody? That's a really easy thing to do. It takes 2 minutes. So even if your website lists the list price, even better, because you can say, look, my website says it's $2.69, but my proposal is 30 cents cheaper because you're a good client. Some other zero moments for you to prepare for. Google the item number and your item name. We just talked about that. Not just the name, but the actual item number. What is your client going to see if they Google either the name or the number? What happens if I type in promotional products, New York City? What do they see? Or whatever, Suffern, is that what we are today? Suffern? Or Suffern? What if they type in motivator complaints? What are they going to see? What if they type in Geiger sucks? What are they going to see? What if they type in Dale Denham sucks? Is there stuff out there? Because guess what we do when we're worried about a customer? We type in Dale Denham complaints. If you type in motivators review, what's going to happen? You want to type in all of those things. And all these slides, as I said before, are available, and I'll show the address again at the end. One other thing to point out, a lot of people, we talk about mobile. And it's a big buzzword right now. Oh, you got to be mobile. Your website's got to be mobile. Our CEO and I have fun bantering about this back and forth because I think it's important, but not near as important as you might think it is. So I worry about your contact information being on mobile. If you Google Geiger from the road, can I easily get your street address and your phone number? Because I might be driving there or I might need to call you. That's the most important thing. And if you can do that, you're in the right step. If you want to create a shopping experience online, great, but that's a much more challenging thing to do. However, I will just also point out, when you send out your emails and your presentations, how do they look on a mobile device? Because a ton of email is being read on a mobile device. So if your email is formatted for a big screen and your customer is reading it and your quote proposal on your phone, that's not a great zero moment of truth. So the buyer's in control, they have a need to satisfy, and they have an emotional investment in making the right decision. They need to look good to their boss, or if they are the boss, they want to look good to their clients. They have often now made their choice far before they've ever spoken to you. Stimulus that you're working on is only half the problem today, if that. It's that zero moment of truth you've now got to be paying attention to. What are they doing when they're not talking to you? So what does that mean for you? How do you communicate now that your clients are in more control than they've ever been? It says you have to be in the right place. You have to be sending emails. You have to be either advertising on Google or aware of what's out there. You still have to meet face-to-face, and you have to be on Facebook and LinkedIn where your customers are. You have to be at the right place. And the harder thing is, you have to do that at the right time. And that's where the bigger budget you have, the easier it is. We don't have big budgets in here. So you have to be very careful about the right place at the right time. And then finally, you have to have the right content. And if you're going to do a blog, which I highly encourage you to do, think about the questions you get asked. If your customer says, well, how many pages is in that journal? Blog about how many pages are in journals and the options available to them. If your customer says, how big does that umbrella open up to? What's the length of it? Don't just say length times width. Type out the blog about the differences. What are the questions people ask you? And just throw that out there. And the next time your customer asks you a question, say, I wrote a blog on that. Here you go. Send them a link. Make sure you include the product names of the products you would want to sell. And make sure you always include your city or your greater area that you want if somebody's Googling umbrellas in New York City. So practical steps, and I'm out of time, so we're going to do these quick. Practical steps is, first of all, you have to have a great website. If you don't have a great website, you're going to lose that first moment of truth, and that zero moment's not going to matter as much. You need to be active on social media in some form or fashion. I strongly recommend the blog. It takes some work, but it's worth it. I would Google Patrick Black at Perfect Imprints if you want some ideas. And if you've got money and energy and desire, you really need to be advertising, pay-per-click, social, and remarketing. And the reason you need to do that is because your competitors are doing that and they're winning those zero moments. And make sure you target narrowly if you're doing this advertising. Make sure you're targeting your general area or you'll be spending a lot of money you don't need to spend. Every week, I would blog about at least one product. I would post at least twice a week on a social site, something interesting. And I would write reviews or get my customers to write reviews of every product I sell, and I would post that into my weekly review blog. Here's all the products I sold and reviews from customers. At least you start building your own review database. At least once a month, go in and update your AdWords. Make sure that you're running AdWords and you're paying what you want to pay. Make a video post once a month, and do a blog not about product. Talk about how to succeed at a trade show. Talk about Cancer Awareness Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And then at least once a year, and you can tell I haven't done that on my Twitter picture, go in and update your profiles and make sure your picture is not your picture from high school. Make sure it's a current picture. Yes, ma'am?
They said they're taking pictures out behind the bar today, headshots.
Thank you. That's a great tip. Make sure you get your picture, your headshot behind the bar today, and you can update your picture and you won't look like I do 15 years ago on Twitter. So, this is where you can download all these slides. Is there any questions before we wrap up? Yes?
Anyone who posts a blog about this client or sorry for them for clients, have you always gotten your client's approval before doing that?
So that's an important point. If you are going to blog and say, I just did product A for client B, some clients are not going to like that. Some clients want to keep that very quiet. So you need to talk to your clients or know that they're okay with that if you're going to mention their name. Thank you guys for being here. I'll be around for questions.
A little housekeeping before we go. As mentioned, headshots are going to be right behind the bar. There's a room back there. Fill out your CAS forms that everybody has. They were handed out earlier. And at 3:15, right after the show ends, we'll have another education in here with Sage. So please come to that as well. And thank you very much for coming. Enjoy the show. Yeah. I'll give your forms, your completed forms, to Gail at the door. Yes, ma'am. Who's going to be? Are you going to be doing that? And the SAAGNY